Hey everyone, Matron here, bringing you another StarCraft 2 commentary, this time one of my own games, a ladder matchup, featuring me spawning as the blue Protoss, and my opponent will be FxAOpeth spawning as the red Protoss. We're on Xel'naga Caverns here, as both of us just being pleasant at the start, and it looks like Opeth is sending out a probe really fast here, so I imagine some sort of cheese is coming. And at this point, we've got no idea this is coming. He's going to be able to do pretty much anything he wants. Cannon rushes pretty popular on Xel'naga Caverns. As you saw, MC actually did one in a PvP in the GSL, and he had a great positioning on his cannons, and it was just pretty much impossible to recover for his opponent. It looks like Opeth is going to place his first pylon in the base here in the northern part. And I'm not actually going to be able to see this. If we check my view here, I cannot see that corner, and unless I scout up there, I'm not going to be seeing anything. At this point, I am playing Protoss on the ladder as well as Zerg, sort of back and forth, playing 5 or 6 games as each just to get practice, as a lot of people I've been coaching want to coach Protoss, so I want to keep sharp with that race as well, and sending out my probe after the gateway. And because it's a short map, a 2-player map, I send the probe out after the gateway rather than the pylon, and now I'm actually remembering that game that MC had, so I want to make sure that no shenanigans are going on, so I'm setting a probe just to make sure no proxy gates or any sort of cannon play is happening, but I'm not actually set to scout up here. And as the probe makes its way into the base of Opeth, I see no gas, I see no pylon, and I know something is up. So at this point, I need to grab another probe, perhaps go scout a little bit more. I did get my gas up, but I'm not going to saturate it because I pretty much expect either proxy gate, proxy 2 gate, and I don't really know that they're in my base at this point, as the initial Zealot coming out for Opeth along the same time as my Zealot comes out. So my Zealot's going to be a few seconds behind his, about 10 seconds behind. I've got a second gateway coming out. I threw that down immediately when I did see that there were no gateways in his base. And again, not saturating my gas. If we check the income counting station, is 16 to 15. I have my initial Zealot out, and I'm going to place it at the top of the ramp here, just a spot. I have a feeling that the gateways are probably down here somewhere. Maybe they're far to the right, but again, I have not scouted up to the northern part of my base. I have no clue they're up here. As the second Zealot comes out for Opeth, he's got a 3rd and 4th on the way. I've got my 2 gateways up. I'm chronoing out my 3rd and 4th as well, and now moving down here is Opeth. He's going to try to take down this pylon, as I will be side-capped if this does get denied, and now he's going to be splitting his Zealots, doing a pretty nice job. He's got 3 Zealots to my 2. I've got another 2 on the way, so does he, so it'll be 4 to 5 in just a moment. And now pulling off all my drones, or all my probes, and now I'm going to attack move. At this point, I'm not really sure I'm going to be able to beat him, because he's got the Zealot lead on me, but using these probes to add a little bit of DPS, I am going to be able to take the advantage, and now I'm going to end up with 4 Zealots compared to his no Zealots, and now 2 more popping out. But with the 4 Zealots I do have, I feel like I'm going to be able to deny him any sort of pressure on the probes. It looks like he's going to be taking down 1 more probe. Up in the north, I'm going to be chasing down these Zealots as they do come out. I should be coming with some more Zealots here, or continuing to get out probes. If we check out the income counting station, it is 16 to 4. But I am going to be able to take down any Zealots which do come out of these gateways. He probably shouldn't have let that one finish, because I do have 4 Zealots out on the field at this point compared to the 1. I want to make sure that I do not lose any of them though, and he may be retreating with this 1 Zealot. I want to make sure that I continue to take down that pylon to stop the stream of Zealots, and at this point I did get up a forge as well. I wasn't sure if it was going to be a 2-gate proxy or whether there were going to be cannons as well. I wanted to get down the forge just so I could counter cannon. One of the big strategies if you are being cannoned. I did take down that pylon, and in the middle of all that battle I sent 1 Zealot up to his base, because if you're able to get a Zealot into your opponent's base when he is doing this proxy 2-gate action, you can do a lot of damage. You might even be able to end the game, but he was able to get up his own forge. He's got 2 cannons coming, and now it looks like he's starting his gas, and he may be starting pretty much a standard build. He created that cybernetics core. He does have these 2 gateways even though they're unpowered, allowing him to build that. And if we check the unit count station, it is 19 now to 10. I'm chronoing out these probes best I can, but his economy is going to be way, way better than mine, and he is pretty much packed and safe back at home here with 2 cannons. I do get a probe up here though, and I'm going to place down my own pylon. At this point I'm feeling like I can get up a cybernetics core and perhaps start warping in here and maybe transition into some sort of 4-gate. I do not have my cybernetics core, nor do I have gas. I'm just focusing on probes, and now I'm going to cannon up in his base, and unless he gets out 2 cannons or so right about here, which I could easily take down with these zealots, this cannon is going to be able to touch that gateway, both of them in fact, perhaps even the cybernetics core. He's going to be reacting a little bit late here. If this cannon is allowed to finish, it could start shooting my own cannon, but mine will finish first. And this is sort of the dynamic in PvP when you have cannons going against each other, as whichever one finishes first is going to be able to start on those as they do come in here. And now I'm going to try to do a little bit of damage, pulling back the zealots as they do get low. Now I just want to pull back anytime the shields go down on these zealots. I want to make sure that I keep them alive just so they can counter the zealots of Opeth at this point. And again, a lot of these zealots, nice micro on my part here, keeping them alive even though they have very low HP. And now I have 3 cannons about to finish in his base. They're shelling his gateways pretty mercilessly here, and they're working on the cannons as well if they get in range. He's going to be pyloning and gatewaying in the back of his mineral line. This is pretty much the only place that he can place them at this point because the cannons are at the front of his base. And I'm getting up my cybernetics core. I will be starting warp gate tech shortly, and these 2 gateways will go down, not before they're able to get down another 2 zealots though, so he will have 4 zealots shortly compared to my own 4 zealots. Darn Frelly interrupting my stream once, or my cast once again. So getting up another pylon just in case he is able to focus down to any of the pylons here. My cannons will not be unpowered, and adding another cannon, and I'm pretty fortified in his base. And here comes a zealot, able to get a free zealot there. He did not have that on hold position. Not really sure what was going on there. And his cybernetics core will finish the warp gate tech before it does go down, but he's just going to have 1 gateway at this point. I've got my own warp gate tech on the way, another 100 game seconds or so, adding on some more cannons. And again, just continuing to shell his cybernetics core. Now 2 cannons working on that, and going to try to focus down these zealots best I can if they do get in range. He's adding photon cannons as well as gateways. I'm going to try to deny this photon cannon. He might want to have to cancel that. Yes, he does. It does cost me a zealot though, and I'm down to the 3 zealots. I'm spending most of my money on photon cannons at this point. Back in my base, I've added a 3rd gate. So once this warp gate tech does finish, I will be able to start warping in some stalkers. And it looks like a 4th gate going up, so a little bit of a modified 4 gate here. Well, it's sort of a crazy 4 gate, eventual 4 gate, as most PvP does tend to turn into 4 gate versus 4 gate. This one is sort of a proxy 2 gate defense into cannon rush into 4 gate. And he is lining up his cannons, so we'll have 3 strong cannons here, adding another gateway, doing his best to chrono boost out this warp gate and add just more and more cannons. Again, his economy's been a lot better than mine. He's got 26 harvesters now as that one does go down compared to mine 19. But I was able to take down a lot of his units. If we look at the units lost tab, it is 2,400 to 700. And I've been able to do a nice job microing these zealots, even back in the attack in my base. And now I should be able to press my advantage in here. But he does have a warp gate tech, so he can get out some stalkers. He's got a lot of gas saved up, over 700 gas. Could perhaps be getting up some sort of robotics. And now I'm going to use these stalkers to try to take down these photon cannons, pulling back the stalkers anytime their shields do go down, pulling back those 2, just microing so that the cannons are attacking these stalkers with shields. I want to make sure that I'm not losing any stalkers there. And he has just gotten out a lot of zealots at this point, and they are going to be continually shelled by my cannons. I've got 5 cannons, and I've got a lot of stalkers coming in, and stalkers are great. Again, you saw that micro, I was able to take down those photon cannons, and he just sort of micro the stalkers a little bit. I want to try to focus down his stalkers so he can't do the same against my own cannons. And now he's a little bit stuck back here with these zealots. He's got 1 stalker. If we check the unit counting station, I've got 6 and 7 compared to his 7 and 1. He's still got the majority of the probe lead though. And he could perhaps push out with some of these probes, maybe about 10 or 15, to try to absorb some of this cannon fire. Again, I'm going to try to pick off as many cannons as I can. Looks like 1 stalker will go down for me though there. And now a 2nd stalker, but as this army does transition from the left side to the right side, he's going to lose a lot of zealots as they do get shelled by these photon cannons. If we check the unit loss count, it is 3,300 to now 1,225. And in come more and more zealots, and at some point one of us is going to be going for either an all-in attack or an all-in trying to break out here. He's got 9 zealots compared to my 9 and 7, and I've got these 5 cannons which he cannot do anything. It looks like he's going to be trying to focus or force out this +1 armor. He did get the +1 attack for these units, spending his money and his gas on whatever he can, and it looks like the big engagement is going to be here. I've got my 5 cannons along with my line of zealots, just ripping apart his zealots, and now he gives the GG. So pretty nice defense on my part. It's actually pretty funny after this game that I did all that anti-cheese scouting with that probe, checking down here in my natural, and then eventually he, well, he had those 2 gateways up in the top northern part of my base, and he was able to stream in those zealots, but I did a nice job reacting with a second gate of my own before that cybernetic score. I did not saturate that assimilator. See a lot of players when they do get 2 gated like this, they'll throw up a cybernetic score and continue to saturate their assimilator, thinking that if they can just last the early going and get up that warp gate tech, but it comes too late for the proxy 2 gate. So you have to get up that gateway. And also I was glad I got up the second gateway instead of the forge and tried to cannon in the top of my ramp. I didn't know where those gateways were, so if I tried to cannon in the top of my ramp, he would have been able to go right behind it because he was in my base. Again, I probably should have scouted that northern position at least a little bit once I did see nothing in his base, but it all turned out okay, and a pretty amusing game. I was able to counter contain him with cannons of my own, take out a few gateways, and eventually he tried to break out, and I was just able to take him down. So thanks for watching this one. Take care.